So I wanted to talk a little bit about vices. In my last video, people were asking what I was doing with my hands. So I thought I'd hit some of the basics and not do a fly tying vise review, but just kind of show you what they do, and maybe you'll understand how they work. This is one of my very first vices, and this vise clamps to the table and holds it securely. On the end, there's a slot right here. You stick the hook in there, and this is a shaft inside of here, and it's tapered. So this cam, when you move this cam and move that up like that, it pulls the shaft down into a cone-shaped hole and tightens that hole up and pinches your fly in there. I'm not sure if you can see that. I can show you with a jig. So these are some of the jigs that I make, and this jig will fit in this slot, and it's loose. When you pull this handle down and move this cam, it tightens up this hole, and it'll hold that hook securely for you. You don't want to over tighten this. This is just stamped metal, and it'll bend. You can tie your fly on and your feathers that way. It's a very good vise for starting out with. I probably use this vise for, I don't know, 10-15 years, quite a while. This is just a spring off of from the hardware store. So when you're tying long strands, you can just set them down in here as you're tying something else on there. It's just to hold your chenille and your thread. This vise is a little bit more expensive. The other one's about 20 bucks maybe you can get one for. This one is a little bit more expensive. It has the same kind of cam and the pinch jaws, so when you move this, the jaws move in and out, because this is on a cam. One side's wider than the other, so as you move it, it opens the jaws or closes the jaws. And they pivot on the center point, so it's kind of going like this. I don't know if you can see that. Hope you can. You pinch it together by widening the back side, and then open it back up. You release that cam. This vise is a little bit more money. It's made with has ball bearings in here, so that it rotates. It's called the true rotation, I guess, true rotator. But these ball bearings in here allow you to turn the fly completely around without really moving the center axis of the jig. I'll show you. So I'll put a jig in here, and this one you adjust a gap here. It has to be big enough to fit the hook in there. Once the hook is in there, you just kind of snug it up a little bit, and then you turn this cam. It's loose, goes in the slot, and when you turn this cam up, it tightens the hook in. So what a true rotator does is this in line with the shaft of the fly vise, and when you turn it, you can actually wind your material right on without wrapping it. So you can actually wind it on. It's a good feature. Pretty expensive. I think this one was 200 bucks. This is when you wrap your thread, you want to keep your thread out of the way, you just hold your bobbin over the end here, and I'll cover that in another video. But this is a good vise. There's different adjustments to it. That these knobs just tighten it up so it doesn't turn as good. And then these back here keep this from turning, because you can actually turn that too. Everything is tight. You tighten it the way you want it. I have it set so it'll move. These screws have a little plastic tip on them, so you don't crank them up too tight. That allows it to rotate around the shaft. It's like a plastic lubricator, basically. That's a nice vise. I like it. This vise is one of my newest vices. It's a Regal Engineering. Has the same clamp. Clamp it to the table, the vise. Hold it down. Makes it pretty sturdy. This also has the knobs with the plastic tips on them, so that you don't damage the shaft, because this has a shaft in it. This particular one is the bench clamp and longer shaft. This just has a hole in it. This has a plastic tip. Let me show you. This just has a plastic tip on it, and that goes up into this round part, so when you turn it, it doesn't score it up and ruin the metal. But this isn't a true rotator. This is another kind. It rotates. I'll show you. I put one in here. When this one rotates, it doesn't rotate around the axis of the hook. It just rotates the hook. I mean, I guess you could put this all the way down and get that hook pretty straight in there, and then you could rotate it. But it really doesn't have any ball bearings in it. This is basically just for adjustments on the height so that you can work on it good. So this one also has a slot in it, and these are two metal bars that are bent, kind of like that. And in this part here is like a flat plate, I think. And when you turn that flat plate, it gets wider, and it opens up that gap. And it'll hold hooks from, I don't know, I guess a 2/0 all the way down to 22. But if you see this one, it's got a little slot right there. Now, that slot is to hold the bigger hooks. And if you get the hooks out by the tip too far, and there's a lot of tension on that, it'll fly out. And you can also damage the tips of this, apparently. When that happens, the jaws snap together real tight, and they'll take a chip out of it. And you'll have to have the head replaced. But I usually stick it in there so it's in the slot, and then I let go of the handle, and it tightens it up. This is a real nice vise. I've only had it for like a month or so, but I like it. This spring is just the material holder, the same as that other one that I put on the other vise. I actually prefer this one over. This is a Renzetti vise. This has a lot of clearance for working on your fly and material and stuff, but this one holds really nice. I don't really use it as a rotator, but for doing stationary stuff, this is a real good vise. What else do I have here? Oh, this part. So this head comes off of here, and you can put this head on another stem. So made this years ago. It only weighs about 5 pounds, I guess. But this head will also go on any stem. And you tighten up and you're ready to go. So this is a more portable combination here. kind of like this one has a heavy base on it. You can move it around. This one you're kind of stuck with being on the bench, which isn't a bad thing. But if you want to move stuff out of the way, or you're on your wife's table and she won't let you do this, this is a good choice. They sell these plates for this vise. I think they're $100. But this vise with this table stem on it is like $175, which is pricey, but it's a good vise. Like I said, it's not a review on vices. It's just kind of how they work. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll try to answer them. I'm going to make a couple more videos on the bobbin, the bodkin, the whip finish. Pretty basic stuff, and hopefully it'll help you out. But I did get a request for people asking me, what are you doing with your hands? I mean, I've been doing it for so long. My first video was kind of like for people that had been tying a while maybe, or knew some of the basics. But I'll work on fixing that. Alright, thanks for watching.